Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
George, we're home in Haddonfield. How did you like
We are.
2018's Halloween?
I enjoyed it very much.
Hey.
Nice.
I'm not surprised.
Our work is done here.
Yeah, no. After convincing you last week that the Halloween reboot from 2007 was kind of garbage, we are not here to ruin your impression of 2018, because at least I'm not. I think it's good too. Travis, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing gravy. Yourself?
Doing good. How was your visit back to 2018?
This is probably my third time watching it, and I enjoyed it the most this time. I think because I was actually looking for stuff to talk about, but I was more engrossed in the small things this time, as opposed to sitting there just with my mouth open. The first two times I watched it.
Like me?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that opening scene gets you, because I was sitting there, I was like, I remember we talked about, I think it was part 6, and you were saying how they didn't do the credits, the traditional opening credits.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started, I'm like, oh shit, they didn't do it here either. But they did. They just waited.
Yeah, a bit more modern approach with a kind of a cold open and then credits after. But that orange text, the first time you see that burnt orange text on screen, just like puts me in my happy place.
Yeah.
It's like a calming. I'm just like, hey, we're here. It's nearly October. By the time we release this, it is October. And oh, so good.
And the E.T. rescued pumpkin on the left was another nice touch.
Well, I like the comment it
you
makes
noticed.
on the state of the franchise.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
It was a deflated pumpkin.
I don't know what you mean by E.T. rescued.
Oh, you never saw E.T.?
I saw E.T., but I don't...
Every time he would stand next to dead flowers, they would like regenerate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The pumpkin came back.
Yeah, but no, it's seriously, like Dan said, the story of the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, they breathed a new life into it.
Yeah. That's funny.
One thing, the way this one opens up, Universal is very heavily featured. And it made me think, like, why were they trying to cross over? I mean, I know at the time it was Dimension, but why would we even consider a Hellraiser crossover when we could have a Universal Monsters crossover? You know, Michael
With
Myers
Myers?
versus the Invisible Man versus the creature from the Black Lagoon giving a handjob to the Human Centipede. Guys, we're back to it.
No,
Oh.
that can't be a thing.
Oh. Frankenstein
Not my
versus
Universal, no.
Michael Myers. They look and mirror each other's motions as they realize we are same.
Yeah. No, I can't think of many characters that could be in a crossover with Myers. I'd have to really think about it.
I think really you need a crossover with a hero. Don't try to match him up person to person with a Jason or a Freddy. Give me like
A Laurie Strode.
John McClane.
John McClane. I say Ash from Evil Dead might be good, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not?
I think Myers would have to be way more supernatural to do that.
Is
I
he
don't think they're-
supernatural in this one?
Not in this movie. I don't think so.
I don't know. Now, George, did you have any impressions as to the supernatural nature of the supernature of Mike Myers?
Like in this movie?
Contained
Or
only in
just-
this movie.
No. I mean, you know, from past history, I know that he can take a bullet and keep on going, but it's not. If I'm just forgetting everything else I've seen in just the first movie, you know, preceding this, yeah, I don't think that anything supernatural is really established at all.
I think it's really interesting that they do not address the bullet wounds. The 6 or 7 times he's shot. 6 times, I guess, because Halloween 2 is not in the continuity directly. But,
Right.
you know, they show the eye wound and the neck wound when he's unmasked. So they acknowledge those, but they don't, they're kind of having it both ways. You know, they give you pretty much a direct continuity to the end of Halloween 1 from 78, but they never do explain, like, what's the deal with these 6 shots? How did he
Why
survive?
would they, other than if they had a shirtless scene, you really wouldn't be able to even mention it.
But you don't think it would come up at some point like, oh yeah, he was apprehended because he was full of holes. Like, it's just interesting. It's just a big gaping hole in their exposition.
I kind of thought that too for a second, but then I just chalked it up to just because you're shot 7 times doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to die.
Right. And how many of those shots actually landed?
Right.
And were there bullets in the gun? Like, there's a lot of ways you could have gone.
Loomis was not a good shot.
You know.
Yes. So
if it's Knife of Ice, spoiler for Knife of Ice, those were blanks. You know.
I like it because I mean the way this movie started, he's back in the asylum basically, and he's been there since the end of number 1.
Right.
And and you don't need a whole lot of explanation because of how the first movie ended. He was apprehended and sent back, like,
which is not the ending of the movie. So now you're to assume that
you're
they caught
assuming
him.
that. Yeah.
Right.
You're assuming that. But it makes sense because he was just shot 7 times and fell off a balcony. So it'd be pretty easy to apprehend him at that point.
Sewing needle to the neck and a hanger to the eyeball.
Right.
Yeah, he's probably a little wounded.
Right. So,
but I like how right at the beginning they hit the ground running with this, like, it's exposition and new continuity, but it's not a security guard catching you up. It moves along with the plot a little bit. It's a little bit more seamless.
My favorite part about the beginning of this movie is how the 2 journalists are trying to give Michael some humanity, right?
While instigating him.
Well, while instigating him, and also their conversation with Laurie Strode was awkward and didn't seem to fit. So, but that's like a minor thing. But I like that their mission is to bring kind of my interpretation was like show his humanity. Like, he shouldn't be locked up in a hole for the rest of his life. Right? That was their kind of agenda, right?
Mm.
And then he promptly beats them both to death.
I think we should probably put a pin in that because they do kind of address an alternate
okay
as to why everything in 1 happened.
It's almost like this movie said, "Hey, Rob Zombie,
F you."
F you.
It does that a couple of times. There's a couple of zombie acknowledgments in this. Now, I do want to talk about the supernature of Mike Myers because I guess you guys didn't like hone in on it. Explain to me, without supernatural elements, how holding up the mask behind a guy who doesn't have eyes in the back of his head can make him like fire energy into the courtyard and like rile up all the other patients.
I took it as the patients were not riling him up. I feel like they were just acting up.
The patients were riled up.
They were sympathetic to whatever it was he was projecting. What energy he was exuding was making everybody in that courtyard super tense. And he wasn't doing anything physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool scene. And it does, it's like, he's not shooting lightning out of his butt. It's like, it's still kind of grounded, but it's playing with this, like, is he pure evil or is he a man? A little bit more than a lot of the movie might hint. The trailer doesn't show you supernatural Michael.
No.
But, I mean, that part's kind of, it's interesting.
What's funny is I was hesitant when they started showing him maskless and how normal he looked.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, looks like me.
I wasn't hesitant at that at all.
Well, no, when I saw in the trailer and I saw they were doing that, I was hesitant until I saw it in the movie, and then I was fine with it. I was just nervous as to how much they were going to show him without the mask on.
Yeah, you don't ever want to see his face.
But they did it well enough, like when he was following the journalist at the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
It was very Carpenter. There's a lot of Carpenter in this movie.
Yeah.
But it was very Carpenter-esque, like him driving the station wagon in the background of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him, I see him, he's over there, but it's blurry. Like they did that the opposite of what Zombie did.
Yeah.
Like everything was subtle, even in the cemetery. Like everything was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The scene when he goes into the bathroom, and he goes from stall to stall, and all they're doing is they're shooting his feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's brilliant. Like I was just like, he's doing acting with his feet.
Yeah.
Like I was excited about that. I'm looking at him like he's like standing there, but he backs up, but then he's like making sure his shoes are seen. Like James Courtney is doing a really good job at. He's probably my favorite Myers.
Friend of the show.
Other than Castle, yes.
Friend of the show. Actual
and
friend
he
of the
drops
show.
the teeth. He's just like, here, take these teeth. Smile.
When he has that
Yeah.
little standoff with her in the stall, I heard Travis in the back of my head going, I can see your feet. You've ruined it for me. But it's so good.
Sorry.
And then, that like the subtlety with which David Gordon Green shoots these horrific scenes, right? Like the scene itself, the murders lack all subtlety. They're like Rob Zombie plus. But the way he frames and shoots and moves past them, it's almost like, I would say, Jonathan Demme level. Like if we're,
I don't think that these are Rob Zombie plus.
Dude, okay. The
Well,
guy
he
whose
beat that
teeth
guy's
are
head against the
removed,
stall.
and like his mouth has been. Did you catch how mangled that guy's face was as it panned by?
Because
the guy he took his teeth.
The lower jaw completely like jacked, and then
yes, of course. But I mean, I don't know. I liked Rob Zombie's kills a lot, like especially his effects and that they were like really well done.
Yeah,
like you said when we watched it, like in these movies, people have like an off switch when they get stabbed and they just die immediately. Yeah. Well, Rob Zombies weren't like that. They were like realistic. They were so realistic. It was like just really, ugh.
But see, to me, the reason why I like these kills, because they are pretty similar to the Zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies' approach on how Myers is so different than Green's. Like
absolutely,
that scene when he finally gets the mask and the kid bumps into him, Myers, and then he turns like to the garage and goes get the hammer. That single camera shot, and then he goes into the kitchen.
Yep.
Turns, hits her, bludgeons her, grabs a knife, like very robotic.
Yep.
And then when he goes in the other woman's house, she looks out the window, he kills her from behind.
Through the neck, yeah.
But the subtlety of him going around the house and seeing his shadow on the wall. Like I was just like, this is so.
I was in love with that entire sequence.
That was the opening. I remember that trailer. They released just that scene, and as soon as I watched it at work, I remember watching it at work, and I was like, "Holy fuck!
Yeah,
this movie is going to be perfect."
Yes,
and there are problems with it.
A little bit here and there.
But the everything Myers is perfect. Everything Haddonfield is perfect.
Yep.
Like it's everything we said it should have been for Zombie. Like you could see the class separation in that town as they moved around, and the actual suburbs of it was perfect. That's where we trick or treat. That was exactly what it looks like. The people were right. Like everything was right, except for a couple things.
So, anyways, back to the kills. I don't want to give you guys the impression that I wasn't a fan of the kills here. They were great. I just don't think that they were Zombie plus.
Well, I would just say, okay, the thing I like about this movie is not, oh, hey, they took what Rob Zombie did and they made it more intense. But I would say the final outcome of some of these kills is more gory than what you got at the end of the zombie kills. But they're shot like a Silence of the Lambs or a Seven, where like it's present in the frame, but you're not like forced to look at it.
No, the
gratuity is missing.
I thought of you, Dan, when I saw the guy with the jacked up jaw.
Oh yeah.
Where as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, you just see the aftermath. It's Seven.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And the other mechanic was face down.
Yep.
You didn't even see what happened to him, but you know his clothes are gone.
Well, yeah, and you know who's wearing them too.
And you know who's wearing them. Oh shit.
Yeah, in the beginning, one of my like small issues was it's like it starts almost exactly the same. Where it's like, okay, Michael Myers is getting transferred. What do you think is gonna happen? It's like, ha 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 ha. This is what we're doing
What's good
again.
is after we watch the second one, go back and watch this one again. Because there's so much going on in this movie that you're missing, which is great. I missed it too. But it's going to pay off even more if you watch it a second time after you watch Kills.
Okay.
And I know you think I'm not a fan of Kills. I am a fan of Kills.
I thought you were angry.
I was angry
Kills.
at a couple things that were just we'll discuss it. But the stuff that they pay off, the George Lucas-esque stuff that you missed, I missed until I watched it, and then almost like, let's go back and Tarantino it. We're like, oh shit, that was there the whole time, kind of thing.
And it's actually there. It's not like added on later.
It's in your face.
Yeah, they do a good job of making I hope that ends. It may not make Travis happy. It may not make me happy, but I hope it maintains this level of like interconnectedness with the other two, so that 10 years from now, these three just stand apart as like the best trilogy we could have done.
I've already forgotten every other Halloween movie besides 1 and 3.
Nice. Well, don't forget Halloween 2, because if you noticed, there's a lot of Halloween 2 in this movie.
Yeah.
Like that entire sequence from the bump into the kid, hammer, old lady, that's analog to the old lady whose husband is watching Night of the Living Dead in part 2. Only he kills her in this one instead of just stealing her knife. And then in Halloween 2, remember, he goes from the old lady's house, gets the knife, and kills the girl on the phone. And in this one, he also kills the girl on the phone, but like more brutally. And then he walks by a baby, defenseless, just like the maternity ward or nursery or whatever in Halloween 2. And again, doesn't hurt babies, and moves on. Like they do all of the important parts of Halloween 2 in one scene, and then move on.
Yeah.
And that's after.
And also the
H2O bathroom scene. Very similar.
The little boy who was being babysat.
Julian, hero of the movie.
I love that kid, man.
Me too.
Holy shit.
Me too.
But
think about the way he described Myers. He was just standing there, staring at me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's what he does. That's what Myers would do.
I heard him breathing. You're just like, oh my God, they acknowledge the breathing. Nobody ever does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he described it as a boogeyman. Like it's it's perfect. And in a nice modern comedic way. Like the kid is he needs to be in a few movies.
I really like in the short time that him and his babysitter, I forget her name.
Vicky.
The short time that him and Vicky got to interact was very good, and there was chemistry there.
It was better than the entire babysitter interactions in Zombie, which is what we were talking about.
Yeah,
you
100%.
Didn't get any reason why this woman would put her life on the line for him, and you get there's no realism.
Yep.
This movie, I knew that, but you need these people. Every person in this movie is real.
Yeah. The kid is, a pain in the butt, as kids are, but also like lovable. And the babysitter really cares about the kid, like she's like being responsible, but also like when the kid goes to bed, she's going to be irresponsible. Just like babysitters do. But it was totally real. It was fantastic.
And the closet paid off because that's such a cliche jump scare. And usually it's done opposite. Like they make you think someone's in a closet. They open it and there's nothing there. It's like a doll.
Yeah.
Or something that's holding the door
or a cat
open.
jumps out.
Or a cat jumps out. But this was like she opened the door and there he was. Full 6 foot right in front of you.
Yeah.
So
when they did a good job, we've talked about Linda over the course of a couple of these movies and the Annie character. And Vicky is like a really good modern mix of the two, where you get like the responsible babysitter Annie elements. You get the Linda, sexually active with a guy, but like not in a bad way. This is like a sex positive way of just being involved with her boyfriend, who
Right.
The lovable Stoner Dave. Big fan of him. Because that's a character you could have really fucked up. Like, that could have been the worst character in the movie, and he's totally likable. But then, did you notice they did a little zombie? She made it a point to say she was going to F him. Right? So, but it's like presented in a way that's not icky. It's just, it's better written. It's just better dialogue. But intentionally, I think, referencing that line from Annie that's so poorly delivered in the zombie one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fixing everything here, man.
And the boyfriend normally is a big douche nozzle, but this one's not. So you kind of feel bad when he's pinned to the wall.
Yeah.
But then the main Laurie's granddaughter, her boyfriend's a big douche.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
So like a huge, like most of the guys in this movie are, but the boyfriend is not.
Yeah.
The one who gets killed, you kind of feel bad.
And actually, I'm kind of conflicted here, right? Because I see things that I know are fan service, and sometimes I see it and I wish it wasn't there.
Okay.
Like it's not needed, right? That's how I feel. The sheet, like the ghost costume sheet, it's so recognizable and it's like so in your face, like I don't really think it necessarily needs to be there. On the flip side of the coin, the boyfriend being pinned to the wall, and you just see it. You don't see it happen like you do in the first one, which was awesome. But it was so awesome that it's something that you really don't want to recreate.
Right.
Because how are you ever going to do the original justice? They did it here.
Yeah.
He's pinned to the wall. You can use your imagination as to how he got there because you've already seen it.
Well, and you've already seen it done well, and you've already seen it done poorly in the zombie one.
Right.
So it's the Mark Antony thing.
It becomes like
do we touch that?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes the Waynes getting killed in a Batman movie. Like, oh my God, we're doing this again. Oh, you did it in a new way, and it paid off good. Okay, phew. Like,
the ghost didn't bother me because I didn't even feel like they were referencing the original. Because he wasn't, whoever it was wearing it was already dead. It was
Vicky.
It was Vicky.
Yeah.
And it to me, I felt it was an homage without trying to copy. Like they weren't recreating a scene. They were just kind of, I don't know if it was fan service. I just think it's something visual that you expect in a Halloween movie. The body posed. How many ways are you gonna do that? What, put the pumpkin on her head? Like, I guess they could have done that.
Well, they do something, tangentially related to a pumpkin on the head later.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, God, yeah. Human jack-o'-lantern's always good.
Oh, with a flashlight handle. So gross.
The journalists.
The podcasters. I mean, guys, we're calling them journalists,
podcasters.
And they are, sort of, in the way that
They're
we are.
They're kind of like that. What do you call it? What's the big craze right now? The true crime people.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what they are. They're precursors to that. She was phenomenal. Like, I thought she was great. Like, great scream, like fear.
Yeah.
Like, I think she put, I don't know, validity to that character. Like, you expected, but in Scream they talk about how what the hell's her name? Oh my God, Sydney. Sydney talks about, oh yeah, we're just gonna run down the steps and get stuck at the door, and the boobs are gonna fly out. Like she makes that stereotypical conversation about the final girl.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a journalist getting everything done to her that happens to the damsel, but she's doing it. She's selling it. It's like A-list to her. Like, this is her Oscars.
Yeah,
it's her performance. I haven't seen her in anything else, but I thought she was really good.
Yeah, I thought both podcasters were good. It was a little much for me at the beginning to have two slightly different British accents and then whatever Sartain's accent is supposed to be in a already kind of chaotic environment. It's just like, wow, it just felt like a hat on a hat.
It's like watching. It's like watching an episode of Walking Dead and then going and watching Talking Dead, where all the actors are talking about their parts and everybody's British.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was just funny for a Halloween movie that takes place in the Midwest to start off with the first three speaking characters all having different kind of non-native accents, and then silent Michael Myers who only speaks in energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it added to it. I liked it. What do you think of Laurie? The introduction of Laurie. I was kind of curious as to how you feel.
It was incredible. Exactly how I feel like Laurie should be.
Neurotic as shit, but a badass.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It's
Sarah Connor, Terminator 1, and Ellen Ripley, Aliens. One character.
She was. I mean, her character is fantastic. I love her mental state. You know.
Yeah, she's broken.
She has issues, but like you said, she's the the superhero kind of, like she's got this weight on her back and she's carrying it. Like it's not crushing her. She's carrying it. It's immense, but she's carrying it.
What I like about her is she's kind of a representation of a person who constantly gets like waved off. Like, oh God, there they go again talking about this, or there they go. Oh, there's another conspiracy theory. Or, there's this, there's that. But in the end, when the shit hits the fan and she was right, she doesn't run around and say, I was right.
Yeah.
Like, she just is like, all right, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been preparing for. And this is what I've been telling you about. Let's do this.
Right.
And I think that's well done, because they could have gone the other way where she was, just a bunch of combative back and forth, viewpoints. But they didn't do that. They started to do it a little bit in the beginning, because her and her daughter have that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But it's expected, because she kind of ruined her daughter's life by raising her that way.
The daughter,
Judy Greer.
Her moment. Do you know which moment I'm talking about?
The
her
moment.
Yeah, she has a couple moments, but
the
moment.
Bottom
the
of the
moment.
stairs. Bottom of the
stairs.
Oh yeah.
When she can't do it, and then boom. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so good.
Because that's what she always trained for, and she couldn't do it.
Yes, exactly. And she, as much as she tried to run from it and act like it didn't exist, and that her mom was crazy, and I don't want to say crazy, but
she
obsessed.
thought her mom was crazy.
Well, anyway, when push came to shove, and it, shit hit the fan, she was perfect.
Mm-hmm. And I thought the daughter was good. Or the granddaughter was really good. Laurie Strode for this movie, like she was strong.
Yes,
but I don't want to say innocent, but she was more innocent than Vicky, obviously.
Yeah,
but she was a solid character.
I mean, Laurie Strode in the first movie wasn't trying to be innocent.
No, she just was. She just was.
And that's kind of how I felt about this.
Yeah,
Allison.
Allison, the granddaughter. She wasn't.
Thanks for having IMDb open.
Yeah, exactly.
You're welcome.
She wasn't trying to be.
We're staring at the logo right now.
Which, dude, logo's badass.
Yeah. Logo is badass.
But yeah, she was done really well. I mean, you compare her to, the Laurie from the Zombie, and it's just like
apples and oranges.
Just like
night and day. Everything that we talked about, Aaron, are you listening? Everything we talked about last week about Zombie and how we chose that so we could do this movie is exactly why we did Zombie.
Yeah.
Because it's everything. This movie is everything we wanted. And more.
Yeah, so Zombie, at this point, I thought was, when I watched it, I was like, it's okay. It's decent.
Right.
And now it's leveled down to, like, not total butt cheeks. It's leveled down though.
Well, Dan, what's the quote from The Dark Knight? Rob Zombie's Halloween was the hero we needed that day.
Oh, it's It's the hero. Yeah. It's the movie we deserved, but not the one we need right now, or something.
Yeah, this is the movie we deserved.
Yes.
This Halloween. But the Zombie was basically what we were given, and we took it and some of us hated it because it wasn't this.
What is that exact quote?
I don't know, but I love that quote.
I want that. I want that exact quote. Danny, can you look that up?
Dan, look it up.
He's not the.
He's not the hero we deserve, but he's the one we need right now. Something like that.
Done.
Yeah.
Put it on a T-shirt. That's.
But yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, at the time, at least it's not Busta Rhymes. But now you realize, oh, we've just been carrying so much baggage for 30 years.
Yeah.
Just okay. So, George, at the beginning of the movie, they're pretty clear. Stoner Dave brings it up, and she shoots down the fact that Myers is not her grandmother's brother.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
That's just something they said. They acknowledge that it was said, but they remove from continuity any relationship between the two. Did that surprise you? Were you happy with that? You've been with this sister relationship for 30 years now.
Yeah, and I've been confused by it the entire time.
There you go.
When it doesn't work, remove it. That's what they did. They basically removed all question. There is no baby in the house named Boo.
Yeah.
Did they remove all question, though? Because there's one
No,
spot
they didn't.
that really I thought was interesting. And it's in delivery. It's probably not even in the script. But it's when Sartain he's talking about Laurie and Michael and his studies of them. Because he's like, ooh, Laurie Strode, ooh. And he says, I've read the files. I've read everything. And you're like, it's very pregnant the way he reads it. Like there's something in there and it doesn't sound good. But they don't tell you what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, are they going to pay that off at some point? Like, are they going to be like, haha, just kidding?
Was this Sartain? What's his name?
Sartain.
Sartain is from G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Sartain. He seems like this movie's Man in Black.
Yeah, he's got some Dr. Wynn in him.
There's a lot going on there that might get addressed, might not get addressed, but he's definitely setting up.
I swear to God, if this ends with Thorn, I'm going to...
What if it does?
Oh, God, if they do that, holy
What
crap.
if they end up with Thorn and we all believe it? Or what if it ends up that it's like a Silver Shamrock connection? Because you saw those guys. You saw those kids trick-or-treating in the Halloween 3 masks, right?
Those masks are in canon right now.
So who knows? Yeah. Like, ooh, I'm getting excited.
The witch, the skeleton, and the pumpkin were trick-or-treating. So.
Yeah. And guys, I told you, Halloween 4 at one point had a 40-foot tall Michael Myers. If we get a 40-foot tall Michael Myers and Halloween ends, I will be the happiest person in the country. Everyone else will be mad. That's perfect.
That'll still be better than Halloween Kills.
Still better than Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie. I liked Halloween Kills. Whatever. Fight me.
Ay vey.
Yeah, bad takes die tonight, dudes. Is it interesting to everybody else or just me that Laurie Strode in H2O is a completely separate Laurie Strode than this one, but they both feel genuine and natural?
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis is a treasure.
Yes.
Oh, God. This goes without saying.
Well, I think it's because she was so involved in the H2O version that a lot of that trickled into her being an executive producer of this movie and being involved in the creation of this Laurie. I think she shines through the character no matter what movie it is until the director basically says, oh, well, we want to go a different route, so we're going to have you die.
So you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead. I think that's why it seems so genuine, because it's her. And this one more than the H2O, because this one she's one of the money people. She's one of the creatives. She's sitting down with Carpenter and rehashing whatever didn't work 30 years ago. So I think that's what makes this movie so good. They're getting their Michael Crichton Jurassic Park moment where they're getting a second chance to make Westworld and make it a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Were there too many head nods
in this?
Yeah.
I don't remember any.
Really?
Like, I know they happened, but I never thought like, Oh God, here we go again with that.
I saw it at least twice.
It's how
I
they
noticed
shoot it, man. If this were a
Mhm.
Rob Zombie movie, he would have centered the camera up, zoomed in, and laid there and made you watch it. And this one, it's just shot better.
Well, Green does the same thing that Zombie did with The Mask. The whole cradle it and look at it before you put it on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it was done way better. It was still kind of
it was still a little bit too perfect,
right,
for my taste.
But if you notice, the difference between this and that is
this and that. This and Zombie.
Green, this and Zombie is Green is an obvious fan of the original, and Zombie is probably a fan, but wanted to put his own stamp because when Green has him put that mask on, he does the same pull at the neck, chin area to stretch it the same way they did it in the original when he put his mask back on.
Mm-hmm.
The school scene is almost frame by frame a recreation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the school scene was so good.
Where she's standing outside. Like, it was so perfect.
Dude,
it was so Peter Jackson.
It's like they're in the classroom. It's the granddaughter. They're studying literature
and
like
fate.
Whatever.
They're talking about fate.
Yep, and she's in the back corner right next to the window.
It might be the same school.
And I'm like, she's going to look out the window, but, like, she's not going to see Michael.
Right, because he's not there yet.
And she looks out the window, and she sees her crazy grandmother. And I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah.
So much of this movie
so good.
is Laurie is Loomis for a little while. And then for the last act of the movie, Laurie is Michael. You know, she is the predator now. It is her chasing him through the darkened house. It is her emerging from the shadows. Like, it's an interesting comment, I think, on how trauma affects multiple parties, you know, and they kind of hit it too on the head with the line from Sartain about, you know, oh, I want to see how things change when you've been through a thing together, you know, as he's like, cycling them all toward this big finale. But, oh man, her coming out of that shadowed doorway, just like him, it's just like, they did it. They got me to believe. Also, we got a good Myers sit up. Big fan of that.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it. That's another thing. I don't know, man. I see fan service and I'm just kind of like,
But
why?
notice they didn't frame it the same way. He did it, but if you weren't watching close, you would have been like, oh, hey, he's back up again. You wouldn't have been like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They did the thing.
Well, they do it again with the bus crash. That scene, that kid, that little snippet of like a view in the life of that dad and son was so good. And just their conversation where his dad just wants to drag him hunting, and he's like, but I want to go dancing. Like, I should be dancing right now. And he's like, no, just let's go.
What kind of dancing do you think he did?
I don't know.
It was like break dancing.
No, I imagine it was
like
some
interpretive dancing or something.
Step up level Channing Tatum movie thing.
It could be like even like interpretive, like, I don't know.
I mean, if it's a Halloween movie, shouldn't it be Irish dancing?
Maybe. But that's this when they roll up on the people in their gowns. Like, it's fan service from the original.
Yep.
Headlights hitting the gowns. They're all kind of aimlessly walking around the street. But it was like so almost like Walking Dead-ish.
Yep.
Where I wouldn't say I was scared, but I felt uncomfortable because they purposely hit you with the woman smacking the glass. Just like it was very uneasy. And when that cop looks up and he's like, I can help you, and he's like, run, like he's just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, one guy did all this, and or maybe two, or maybe three, I don't know. But it's definitely I enjoyed the fan service.
Oh, so another thing, that scene, the bus crash scene with the little kid that wants to dance. It was the first time that we saw in this movie poor trigger discipline.
Oh yeah, and he paid for it.
And that continues through the entire movie. When you see a firearm anywhere in this movie, there is a finger on the trigger.
Right.
Already. Everywhere.
Yep.
And not that I want to nitpick, but Laurie Strode picked the wrong firearm.
It was tactical.
It was not.
It was tactical.
It was not. That was the wrong firearm for what she was doing. 100%.
Yeah.
But I can forgive it, I guess.
Does the dad and the kid parallel Laurie and her daughter?
I don't know.
Because if you think about it, like,
I
her
guess.
daughter was like, "Oh, you raised me this way, and you made me crazy," even though she was preparing her for the situation. This kid wants to be dancing. His dad takes him hunting all the time, and in the end, he's got to draw the gun, and become a hunter.
Yeah, but he wasn't prepared for the
But he was not
situation.
prepared
Mm-mm.
because he didn't take it seriously.
Well, and because he's a goddamn kid. Maybe in his 30s he would have been ready. I did like how Laurie is essentially like a football dad, you know?
Yeah.
In the, like, you don't have to love me, but I'm going to get you ready to be tough, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
that's interesting, especially given, I know, Jamie Lee Curtis's politics are pretty liberal. And I know there was some backlash when this movie was coming out, like, oh, you're liberal and you don't like, personal gun ownership in real life, but in this movie you play a woman with a lot of guns. And it's like,
Yeah,
well,
it's called acting.
it's a fictional piece of movie. But at the same time, she does
it does prove
present
the point.
herself not as necessarily well-adjusted. It's not like she...
No, yeah.
It's not like
she's
she
not.
came out of this and is like, my name's Jamie Lee Curtis and I support exactly what Laurie Strode did. Like,
Yeah, but honestly, the purpose of her doing that is on the mind of most gun owners. Like, they're not crazy, I'm going to hunt this guy's tried to kill me when I was 17 and I have to have guns and be prepared and be a prepper. Like, most people are like, I want to have these guns. I'm allowed to have these guns, and it's for the situation just like this. Home invasion, someone threatening my family, whatever. So most of the people, some people are crazy, but most of the people that are gun owners believe the subtle version of what Laurie believes.
Yes.
Preparedness.
Yes,
for any situation.
I don't want to venture into politics too much.
Right.
But and gun ownership and this or that. But
how do you feel about fire trap ownership? Because I'm pretty sure that's murder.
Oh, so fire trap ownership.
When it comes to pure evil, I think
that's
we're all right.
premeditated
Yeah, when it comes to
murder.
pure evil, yeah.
I'd have to reach out to my friends in the legal world, but I'm pretty sure even if
It's
you were
premeditated,
threatened,
That's
definitely.
100% premeditated.
that's premeditated
murder,
murder. Like,
but it's premeditated murder with mitigating circumstances.
Justified premeditated
Well, I don't
murder.
know about justified. Well, yeah, it's justified. It's self-defense. But anyway, there's mitigating circumstances
Right.
there. It's, in Texas they'd look the other way.
Yeah,
that's all I'm
true.
saying.
That's true. This isn't Haddonfield, Texas, though. This is Illinois, so
Yeah.
I imagine it would be a lot.
So she might be,
more.
and they say
If it was Florida, she would have a stand your ground.
that's true. But they say, even responsible gun owners,
But
when you
she did
when you
lure
pull
him
the
there.
when you pull the trigger, before you pull the trigger, you have to be prepared to go to jail for the rest of
Yes.
your life.
Yes.
Right, because like whatever when you're using that gun, it has to be important enough for you to go to jail
Right.
for the rest of your life for. You might not, but that's the way you need to think
How
about
do
it.
they tell
Is
you to
this worth
feel
it?
when you have someone trapped in your basement and you're about to light them on fire?
Listen, this is a special circumstance.
Yeah, this is like when a girl kills her trafficker. Like, I'm like, okay,
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
One less trafficker in the world.
Yeah. But hey,
I didn't do it.
it's
But she
it's a
did it.
special situation.
Yeah.
I think this is why we have judges. This is why we have juries, because not every situation is cookie cutter. And I think that Laurie Strode is probably justified,
Definitely.
given the circumstances. Given the what's the phrase?
Extenuating
Michael-
circumstances?
No.
Michael
it's
killed that
the-
woman with a hammer, left that baby motherless, killed that other woman who was just looking out the window,
Yes, but
killed
that was
that kid.
in the heat of passion. No, I'm just kidding.
Killed the kid with a fence post. Like, I think he deserved to burn.
The totality of the circumstances is the phrase I was looking for.
Okay.
So anyways.
He's not innocent. Let's put it that way.
So in the script, when Sartain gets his head stomped, it says that his brains shit out of his head.
Shit?
Yeah, and I would say that, yeah, they nailed it. That effect nailed that line.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good way to describe
Do we need such a gory Myers? I mean, I hate to be that guy because, you know, I love my Jason movies gory. But Halloween, so goreless and so perfect. And then all of a sudden you go from Halloween 1 to this one where he's dropping teeth out of a guy's face and pinning a guy all twisty-turny up on the wall. Like, does he need to be that gory?
I think to grab you.
No. I would say no, it does not need to be.
It doesn't need to be, but I think it was done tastefully.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But it does not need to be.
It wasn't gratuitous.
I mean, he made a man's head into a jack-o'-lantern.
I know, but it was off screen.
Yeah, it was after the fact.
Yeah,
you only saw the
it wasn't like it was hostile. Like
it was hostile at some point.
Well, it was hostile, but I mean, like what was it we talked about with Saul and Hostel, where it's like,
oh, hostile, not hostile. Okay, yeah, hostile. It was pretty hostile, like but it wasn't very hostile.
Right, it was hostile, but not hostile.
Gotcha. And I don't mind. In the end, it's fine. It's just funny to me to see how far we went in basically a 1-to-1 movie transition, and nobody really seemed to notice or care that it got way gorier.
I love the fact that it does have nothing to do with gore, but when we talked about part 6 and how they totally changed the Myers house and totally did not care about the old movies at all. This movie recreates, like, even Judith Myers' tombstone is an exact recreation of the original. Like, they were just like, we're going to do everything we were supposed to do over the past 20 years. That's like detail that I'm a fan of. That is fan service that I like.
Did you like the dollhouse?
The dollhouse was tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah.
When it starts burning, you're just like, oh, even the dollhouse burned.
Yeah, so when she set the entire house on fire, I actually had a thought earlier in the movie, like twice, where if you have a bunker underneath your kitchen, first of all, sliding, pivoting island leading to a staircase, awesome.
Yes.
I want that in my house.
Safe room, definitely.
Mine will have a concrete ceiling.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, why isn't this a concrete box?
That house should be built on top of a fallout shelter.
Would a concrete box just treat you like an oven, though? I don't know. What is the heat-deflecting properties of concrete?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know it was going to be used as a furnace.
Right.
At the time I was thinking this. When you first are introduced to this space, I'm thinking this all needs to be concrete.
Right.
And it's not. And then, again, I had the same thought when they're looking at the ceiling. They're in the underground bunker. They're looking at the ceiling. They're watching and listening for Myers to walking above them with the floorboards.
Yeah. Good effect,
and she takes a shotgun shell through the floor. I was like...
I think she used it right.
Again,
I think that was the repeater at that point. I think she'd switched guns.
Okay, fine. Again, I was like, concrete ceiling.
Right.
I'm like, if you're going to have that bunker, just... But then they paid it off. I did not see it coming. That bunker is not for protection. It's for entrapment.
Yeah.
It was very good. It was very good.
Just get them down
and
there.
The fact and the fact that there's a, you don't have to, slide the island back over the hole. It's got a quick lever, boom, bars.
Cage, yep.
It's like, whoa. I also thought that the entire house was kind of, I don't know what to compare it to. Like all the contraptions that she had in there for safety and, for when she was sweeping the house, she would clear a room and close it off. clear a room and close it off. That was cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's
super
straight
cool.
out of Aliens too, as well.
Yeah.
Come on, lock it up.
Yeah, and if she was using the correct firearm when she was in the room with the mannequins,
What would you
she
want her
would've-
to use?
Something with a shorter barrel.
Oh, you're worried about but the thing is, like, out of her armament, right? She had like some long rifles, she had a repeater, she had a shotgun, and a couple of pistols.
Guns.
She didn't exactly have like an MP5K sitting there. I mean,
Well,
It'd be cool if she
yeah,
did.
MP5 is hard to come by. An AR-15 would have been good.
Not in Chicago.
might overpenetrate. I don't know.
Um,
Not a lot of stopping
don't-
power in the NATO round, from what I'm told.
I don't know. Even a shotgun that was sawed off.
Hmm.
You know.
Illegally modified?
Yes,
This is
fuck
Laurie
it.
Strode.
You're Laurie Strode. Yes.
Interesting.
And they make shotguns that with snub barrels.
Why
It's
not
fine.
just an Uzi 9mm?
Because 9mm doesn't have stopping power, like Dan said.
Worked in Terminator.
Well, I mean, come on, let's be more realistic here, Travis.
I like how
Uzi 9mm. That's the only gun I remember him naming.
yeah.
But it never worked against him, if you'll notice.
Isn't
Well, he's a freaking robot, but it did all right
Well.
to everybody else.
Yeah.
Took care of an entire police station.
the thing about Uzi is it just keeps shooting. That's the thing about
And
that.
that's all he needed it for, was to take
Yeah.
out an entire police station.
Yeah.
I think he took on 5 shots the whole time he was walking with that gun. Yeah, I think that
Oh,
was,
and I liked Laurie's theory about liking revolvers.
I knew when she said that, I was like, ooh, George is going to smile at that line.
Because that is the reason you have a revolver
Yeah.
over some other tactical handgun.
Yeah, I heard that
Word.
line and I thought, oh, that George is going to comment on that.
It's like they don't jam. I'm like, that is true.
That's true.
You don't have a whole hell of a lot of, they only shoot 6, but they always shoot 6. Nothing gets jammed. No moving parts. It's fantastic.
I'm having an epiphany and a brain fart at the same time, which is
Ooh.
pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I think.
An epiphafart.
Epiphafart. The Sartain character.
Sartain.
Sartain. Did they do his full story?
No.
Because the head stomp happens in this movie, right?
Yeah, he got his brains shit out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because I just remembered more about him, and I wasn't sure if it was like a director's cut I watched or if it was something they flash back on later.
So put a pin in
So,
that, I guess.
I'll put a pin in that then, yes. Beauteous.
Very good.
When the two cops are sitting there talking about the banh mi sandwich,
Yeah.
I really was like, oh, so that's what Travis hears when I try to make him watch a Jalo. It's like, but no, this one's the kind you'll like, I promise. It's peanut butter and jelly, but it's Jalo. And Travis is like, I got brownies. I got Lost Boys brownies over here.
Hey, Lost Boys is good.
That's what I'm, see? That's why it's in my notes. Lost Boys brownie.
Lost Boys is a movie that a child would watch if you let them just watch any movie.
No. That would be Peter Pan. Which kind of has a parallel. Well, we'll talk about that one. Yeah. Watch that movie. If we watch it. If Dan allows it.
Peter Pan is the shit.
I've had a couple of requests for Lost Boys come through recently, so maybe next spring, if things were to break out again, we might need to revisit.
Is Lost Boys a Peter Pan movie?
No.
Okay. Because you said Peter Pan and you're like, the Lost Boys are
It
part
kind of, when we watch it, you'll see it has kind of a
Has parallels.
Neverland feel
of. Okay.
in a way, but in almost a unexpected way.
Okay.
Am I right in that saying that, Dan?
I've never
Or have you
seen it.
never okay.
I know, right?
Oh. Oh, behave. can't believe that.
I know.
My head's gonna explode.
I know.
I was talking to somebody about the podcast recently, and we were talking movies.
Yeah,
right.
Because you can do that now.
Yeah, I can do that. And actually, we were talking movies, and then I told him about the podcast, and then he's like, "If you have a podcast about movies, why don't you know more about movies?" And I was like, "Well, that's the kind of the point."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't tell him about the podcast. I was just like, I was like, "Oh, I can't do this on Thursday night because, we record. I have a podcast we record on Thursdays. I gotta watch a movie and record. It's about movies." And it's like, you have
6
a movie.
minute abs.
Yeah, exactly. you have a podcast about movies. Shouldn't you know more about movies? I'm like, no, not me. Dan and Travis, they know plenty. Yeah, that's kind of the point. He was it
sounds like Jerry explaining the Seinfeld show with George when they talk about it's a show about nothing.
Yeah. He's actually this gentleman I was talking to. He's redoing his basement. I'm doing the electrical for him.
Oh.
Friend of mine.
He should put a studio in and then we'll show up.
He is putting a theater in. And that's what got us to talking movies. And he told me what movie he's going to show first in his theater.
Ooh, what is it?
And it's not good.
I can't wait.
No, I don't want to say it's not good because I've never seen it. It's probably good. But he was like, first movie I'm going to watch in here is Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I haven't seen it.
Is he putting in an IMAX?
And he says, he's like, what would you do? Like, if this was yours, like, what would be the first movie you watch? And I was like, oh, Halloween. And he's like, I mean, it's not going to be done by Halloween. And I'm like, I don't care if it's December 24th.
You watch that shit on
I'm
Christmas.
watching Halloween.
Watching that shit on Christmas.
He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really.
I watch Halloween on every holiday, even like Yom Kippur.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, if my theater is ever done, first movie I'm going to be showing, because you all wanted to know, Tenebrae 4K. I bought it months ago, and I've been holding on to it. I refuse to watch it until I have the big screen.
I might watch the Tick series in my theater.
The cartoon one or the Amazon one?
the Patrick Warburton one.
Oh, nice.
So good.
Alien would be a good pick, too.
Alien's a good one.
Yeah. They need to release Aliens on 4K so I can double those up.
They need to release that in the theater so I can go see it in the theater because I was too young when it came out.
Nice.
That's a movie I want to see in the theater. That and right before COVID, or actually when COVID was happening, the beginnings of COVID, I had tickets to go see King Kong in the theater with my dad. There was going to be an event. And then we couldn't go because, he's over 70. And we were all scared to leave our house.
Yeah.
But, and then I don't know if they're ever going to do it again. I think it was like a 75th or an 80th anniversary. I hope they do it because I want to share that and, running out of years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go with the boys too. So I want it to be like a whole thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully they do that at some point. Maybe that'll be my movie theater or home theater movie. The original King Kong. Surprise, motherfucker.
I was just thinking that.
Supplies.
Supplies, motherfucker.
So, did you catch the motherfuck moment in this? The definite Rob Zombie reference.
I didn't.
Okay, so at the beginning,
when did that happen?
It's an awful line that if this was the second Halloween movie ever made, this would be my least favorite line in the movie, where the dad is making the mousetrap covered in peanut butter, and he drops it.
Yes.
He goes, I got peanut butter on my penis. And it's like, it's a gross, stupid line. Like, it's kind of a crap line, except when you realize they're referencing Rob Zombie in the bagel scene. And now it's just a guy like using the medical term for where he got the peanut butter. Like, it's still stupid. It's still a good insight into how much of a chucklehead the dad is. But I mean, it says a lot about where we're going versus where Zombie would have gone.
Yeah. I was also curious about his relationship with Laurie, because he seems very comfortable in shitting on her in public. Like,
Yeah.
he's not her father or her son or her brother. Like, he's just the in-law.
Right.
And when they're at the table and she's just rambling, she just watched Myers like leave, and he's like, "All right, shut the fuck up."
Yeah, it's definitely
shut your mouth.
There's a line in the movie Thank You for Smoking.
Okay.
The parents are divorced, and the little boy says to his mother's boyfriend, "You're not my dad. You're just the guy fucking my mom."
Oh, nice.
Right?
Okay.
And so, if I were Laurie Strode, I would be like, "You are not my son. You are just the guy fucking my daughter."
I could see her saying that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
No,
But that's how I felt.
it was deserved.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
back off.
Yeah. He almost he was talking to her as if she was his mother,
Right.
and he was embarrassed by her.
Right.
And he can talk to her that way, even though I would never. But it just seemed odd that he was the son-in-law and was that comfortable to talk to her in front of the boyfriend. Like, it was just like, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was a very weird situation. And actually, in the scene where he talks about getting peanut butter on his penis, he then goes on to describe the boyfriend.
Oh, because he's Lonnie's son.
Yeah, in a way that when you actually meet the boyfriend, it's like he's nothing like that.
Right.
But do you remember Lonnie from Halloween 1? I'm not going to do the impression, but I'm sure Travis can just...
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
Yeah, it's the bully kid who goes and knocks on the Myers house while Donald Pleasance is, for some reason, standing in the bushes outside the Myers house waiting for Michael to come home.
I think he was the kid that trips Tommy when he's carrying a pumpkin.
He's the bully.
Too. He's the movie bully.
Okay.
So you're supposed to be like, oh, yeah, that guy sucked. His son probably sucks too. And then you meet him and you're like, this guy doesn't suck that bad. And then you're like, oh, on second thought,
No,
this son...
He is a bit of a douche.
No, he does. He does suck, but just not in the way that his dad, that the dad described.
They made them likable. They just made them youthful assholes. Like, they're just like, they're likable, but they're douchey. It's hard to explain. It's not like the old 80s where the you knew the douches, you knew the Danielsons, and you knew the Johnny Lawrences. Like, they totally put them almost like stereotypically. This is the bully. We're gonna do everything wrong with this guy, so you know. This boyfriend, they kind of did it in a subtle way. He's a kind of a cheater, selfish. Like, I don't know. They
trying to gaslight his girlfriend.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like a bully, and he was kind of, I don't want to say emo, but he was kind of like a...
Well, he was a little abusive.
Yeah.
But it becomes a good device to get that phone into the punch, you know?
Yeah.
Without being too, like...
Was that punch? It looked like mayonnaise.
Or like...
pudding.
It was
pudding, Jell-O,
I
something.
don't know what it was.
It was Jell-O.
Big bowl of no thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, so the boyfriend's friend, the kind of like charming, but obviously the dorkiest kid in the movie.
The Jack Black.
When he...
I was thinking the kid from Superbad.
Yeah, I was thinking Superbad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jonah Hill.
Jonah
Hill.
Hill. Yeah, he's got a Jonah Hill thing going on.
Very Jonah Hill.
That guy gets killed in a horrible, gruesome way. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But then...
But funny. It's a funny scene when he's like talking to him like, I'll get out of your yard. I'm sorry.
It's great. It's just, and it's pure, it's the Halloween where Michael is, in there with you, but you don't know it's him. It fits with a lot of what they've done in the franchise. But then the score is going and it's getting more intense and it's piano again. And then that guitar hits with that sound. Oh my God. Like that's so
done by his
good.
son. The carpenter's son composed that.
So good, man. Like it's just it brings you right up till now, but it still feels like it fits. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that sounds good when you just listen to it. Like you don't want to be watching the movie. Just listening to that score. Ugh.
So good.
So good. Now you got me saying it. So good.
I like this movie a lot, guys. I don't know if it's a sequel as much as it is like a reboot-quel. Like it reminds me of that Star Wars they did episode 7, where it's like kind of the first movie again, but then still sort of new.
Yeah, they're like, we'll give you some fan service, but we're gonna introduce a shit ton of characters that are gonna take us into the next.
And they do a good job of homaging other sequels that are now no longer in canon.
Yeah.
Or are they? We'll have to wait and find out what everything means.
Yeah, if Cochrane pops up in this.
Oh my god.
And this is all a Silver Shamrock experiment.
40-foot Michael.
I am curious. I'm hoping they don't. We'll talk about it, but oh god,
this is the first time we've ever talked about a new movie before it came out in this kind of anticipatory way. Because the Batman we talked about when it came out, but we didn't spend months pining after what it could and couldn't be.
Well, it worked out because it was so much like a 7 that we had just done.
We might have done that on purpose.
Oh, did we?
Oh, yeah. No, I knew going in. Well, that's why we did the. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's good. Sometimes we do things right.
I was trying to be not let people behind the curtain, but okay.
Yeah. No, we knew it was coming. Just like with this, where we timed it exactly right to where we'll have our episode on Halloween Ends launch the Wednesday after it comes out.
There's a couple douches on Facebook that are really trying to spoil it for me. It's driving me insane. That suggested for you feature on Facebook needs to go away.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like popping up in your
pages
feed.
It's pages that you don't belong to. And it pops up as suggested for you because it's associated with stuff that you do belong to. And then they're like putting thumbnails on discussions and stuff that they're doing. And the thumbnails are like revealing shit. And I'm just like, the movie hasn't even come out yet. What? Isn't there like a statute of limitations there where...
You can probably report it to Facebook and at least get it out of your algorithm.
Well, I click the unfollow or the don't show me anymore.
Gotcha.
But it's like, it's just annoying. It happens with Marvel stuff too. Like they'll be like, oh, what does this mean? And then they'll like show you a screenshot of the big reveal that you didn't know until the post credits. And it's like, at least tease me and I'll scroll down if I want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the respectable thing to do.
Yeah. No. But we'll see. Maybe they weren't spoilers. Maybe they don't know what they're talking about. But I know they had screenings already.
So cool.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
Makes me want to watch that scene again.
Yeah, no, it's a hell of a scene. And the cool lighting and stuff from those motion sensors and stuff. Oh, man.
And that's an homage to the Laurie running from house to house, knocking on doors. And no one's letting her in.
That was so good, too.
Yeah. But she finds help.
Oh, that was
like
so good.
They paid that off.
Yeah, when Allison finds her friend hanging on the fence and then sees Michael on the other side of the fence and she just starts screaming and running and banging on doors, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. It
was as good as the...
That's an homage, I guess, to the original that it really hit perfect. It hit just right.
Yeah, because you have that cool new music playing.
Yeah.
But they're giving you the old feel. And you got your old Michael Myers back. He's not, Jason. He's, like you said, playing in the shadows right in front of you. Like, to me, it's
And the
perfect.
idea of doing the motion sensor lights, I mean, that's perfect for Michael Myers.
Yeah, because he doesn't move. How am I setting off these motion sensors? I'm not moving.
See, that's the thing. Like, the motion sensors, they turn on when they see motion. And Michael Myers is moving in the dark.
Right.
And they're not going off.
He needs to have
turning
one of those, the Batman moments, like with the muzzle flashes.
Yes. Yeah.
Hopefully that happens in the third one.
Nah, I don't think I need that. Although I do need to watch that muzzle flash hallway scene again from the Batman.
Yeah, that's going to look cool in 4K in the big screen.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You guys are invited anytime. You can make the drive.
Oh, we know.
I'm going to show up with a suitcase full of movies.
Okay.
No, I don't want your giant box of porn, Andy. I tried to watch that movie with my son, and we were 10 minutes in, and Jen's like, turn it off. I'm like, weren't you asleep? 40-year-old virgin.
So good.
Okay. I'm like, what? What movie is
it's
that
just
from?
so vulgar. But it is uncomfortable to sit and watch with your son. But then you got to keep telling yourself, He's 16. He's going to hear worse than this in school. But like the first scene with Seth Rogen, he's talking about a woman effing a horse. I'm just like, I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Like I was getting really like cold sweats. I'm like, Seth Rogen talking about, yeah, we're watching a movie. This woman just fucking a horse. Yeah, I kind of felt bad for the horse. In the Seth Rogen way. Like I was just like, yeah, this is not good. But we'll get through it. We'll watch it. You haven't seen that. Have you seen that? You've seen it, right?
40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yeah.
I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a part in that movie that's not uncomfortable. With your son. Like sitting with your kid.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd have to, I don't remember a whole lot from it. I kind of feel like I would be okay, but maybe not.
I mean, Ant-Man puts a camera up his ass. His own ass.
Hey, that's Tommy Doyle to you, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, it's that like, same kind of humor.
Yeah.
But way better.
It's
like Wedding Crashers.
I mean, it's almost like watching It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
You know?
But way more vulgar.
Sure. Because it's a movie and not a television show. It's...
But when they're all trying to outgross and out vulgar each other, that's when it gets like most of it's improv.
Yeah.
So it's like Seth Rogen will be like, "I saw a woman fucking a horse," and then the other guy's like, "Wow, I got to one up that."
Right.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. And.
Yes.
Oh man! So next week, George, you're watching Halloween Kills. You already knew that. Are you excited?
Yeah,
I'm play around in this world a little more. What I'm excited for is for Travis, now having seen 2018 and then Kills and then 2018 again, to go into Kills thinking he hates it, and this time next week he's gonna be like, I was so wrong. Halloween Kills is amazing. What was I thinking?
He's shaking his head.
Well, he hasn't done it yet.
I'm excited. Just
for the debate.
I'm excited to see what all this is about because Dan loves it.
I could be
Travis
wrong.
Is like meh about some things,
and we've been waiting to talk about this for a calendar year.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when this came out.
We started bickering back and forth, and George is like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
It's been, it's like when your parents are fighting, but you don't know what they're fighting about. It's kind of like that for an entire year.
Yeah, like they fight in code, and you're like, what? I think Dad cheated. No, maybe not. Maybe he's just got a drinking problem. I'm not really sure what's going on over there. But I know Mom's mad.
Whatever it is, it's Dad's fault.
And whatever it is, evil dies tonight.
Oh, I can't wait to make debate great again.
Yes.